Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting of July 8th, 2019. Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Campbell.
Present.
Consamagno.
Present.
Dixon.
Here.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Present.
Harrison.
Present.
McLean.
Here.
Mowry.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Mayor Allen.
Okay, we have 8 members present. At this time, can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I just have a couple of announcements. One, I would like to introduce Lawrence Christian. He is our new Bethel Park Municipal Manager. He started last Monday, July 1st. So welcome. We told him it would be nice to him for maybe one meeting. Not real sure. The second item is under chair announcements. We had executive session of council was conducted tonight, July 8th, 2019, for personnel items. And at this point, I would like to turn to the reports of the officials in the library director's report.
Good evening. My name is Christine. I'm the director of Your Public Library, where we provide opportunities to explore, learn, create, and connect. Just a few announcements. First, the library is collecting blankets, sheets, and towels for the South Hills Pet Rescue through the end of July. So if you have any items that have outlived their usefulness at your home, you can bring them in and help make the life of a rescue dog more comfortable while they wait for their forever home. Summer Reading Club for adults ends on July 28th, and for youth, it ends August 17th, but there's still time to join. And also, beginning July 1st, we started a new lending project with our ebook collection. It's called A Lucky Day, and it works the same way a print bestseller collection works. So if you use our Overdrive app or Libby app, and you see a Lucky Day title that's available when you log in, you can check it out even if there are holds on that title. Lucky Day is in a pilot phase right now, and Bethel Park Library has signed up as a pilot library. Also, e-audio titles through the Libby app are now compatible with Apple CarPlay, and they have improved support for Android Auto, so it'll make listening to your audiobooks while driving easier and safer than ever. And that is all that I have.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Hearing none, can we turn to the police chief's report in Chief O'Connor?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Hi, everybody. Chief here. So in August, this is one of our favorite activities is National Night Out. So we are going to have Tuesday, August the 6th, is National Night Out, and BPPD will participate. We're going to do a couple things. If you want to sponsor a neighborhood party, or you get in touch with Detective Gorman, I'm sure he'll have something on Facebook about how to register. And we'll have a police officer will stop by and introduce themselves and eat your food. The other thing we're going to do is at Miners Park at 6 p.m., we're going to have, for the kids, we're going to have pizza with police. And we're going to try and get a guest speaker to come to and talk to the kids. So if you can't do either of those two activities, just simply put on your porch light, show us support. Take a bite out of crime, and remember, we own the night. The criminals do not. Okay, so hope to see you or hear from you on National Night Out, Tuesday, August the 6th. Till then, follow us on social media. If anything big's happening, we'll put it up there. Questions?
Mr. O'Brien would like to know what time the pizza is going to be served on.
I just wrote it down.
6 p.m. sharp.
6 a.m. Mark.
6 p.m. Okay.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Chief. At this time, we turn to the fire chief's report.
All right, hello, I'm Eva Parker. I'm one of the captains for the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company, and I'm going to give you the June Chiefs report. For the month of June, we had 54 calls, 4 fires, 1 electrical fire, 1 brush fire, 4 odor investigations, 2 wires down, 1 vehicle accident, 2 natural gas leaks, 1 traffic control, 1 person stuck in an elevator, 8 good intent calls, 8 CO alarms, and 21 fire alarms for a total of 51 calls. Through the month of June, we have had 298 calls for the year, so we're probably going to hit at least over 600, which would be a record for our department. Once again, I have some grilling tips for us. If you weren't listening last month, you can listen this month, because the chief told me to tell you guys that. Only use your grill outside. Keep it at least 3 feet from siding, deck rails, and eaves. Keep a 3 feet safety zone around your grill. That way your pets, kids, stay safe. Open your gas grill before lighting. Keep an eye on your grill, fire pit, or patio torches. Don't walk away from them when they are lit. Clean your grill after each use. This will remove grease that will start a fire. Place the coals from your grill in a metal can with the lid once they have cooled. And lastly, on grilling, stay safe this summer. And then just as a little side note, if anybody doesn't follow us on Facebook, from this past Friday morning until last evening, we had 19 calls. I'll just give you a quick breakdown of what those were. We had 1 elevator rescue, 1 natural gas leak, 2 flooding calls, 4 fire alarms, 1 CO alarm, 2 transformer fires, 5 possible structure fires, and 1 vehicle rollover. So these past 3 days, we've been really busy. You've probably seen us out and about. We're all lacking a little bit of sleep, so that's why we do what we do.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Hearing none, thank you very much. At this time, can we turn to the manager's report and Mr. Christian?
Thank you so much. I just want to take a couple minutes and introduce myself. As the president said, my name is Lawrence Christian. I just retired from the U.S. Army on the 1st of February. As after about 24 years, I retired as a lieutenant colonel. I have been stationed all over the United States, but I was born in Massachusetts, raised in Florida, and lived in about 17 different states, a couple different countries. I've been deployed all over the world, and I've had a fantastic Army career. And now I get to join you all here in Bethel Park, because this is our city of chosen. And what I mean by that is we have family 3.5 hours here, and the research I've done about Bethel Park, I can find no better place to settle down and start a family. So I was excited to be selected to be your municipal manager. I will work diligently, hard, and I will make sure the residents stay informed and taken care of. And again, I'm so grateful to be here. My family, we are going to be here in Bethel Park. I have 3 little ones, 2, 5, and 7. And so wherever we go, we bring the crazy, and we love it, and we absolutely want to be here. So thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Lawrence, and welcome. Before we get into the agenda, I just have one announcement. I know there's a lot of people signed up to speak on the Cool Springs rezoning. We were notified last week. We did not get it properly advertised. That's why we do not see the rezoning request on the agenda this evening. It will be scheduled on July 22nd in council chambers at 7:45 p.m. So the rezoning will be on July 22nd, which is a Monday night, 2 weeks from tonight at 7:45 right here in council chambers. If we can now turn to approval of the minutes, and Mr. Hannon.
How about the mayor's report?
I'm sorry. Can we turn to the mayor's report? Lawrence told me to skip that. I don't know what that
Thank you for mentioning it to him. So, first of all, I want to thank everyone who came out to the Summer Spectacular. I mean, we had an awesome day. The fireworks were great. Last year I watched them not at the grounds, but off the grounds. And this year I stayed, and they were put to music, which was absolutely incredible. We had a great turnout. The fireworks probably lasted 20, 25 minutes. But I want to give a special thanks to the Recreation Department, Public Works, EMS, Police Department, and Fire Department. Lawrence mentioned that he wanted to live in a great city, town. And I had a little information a couple weeks ago that the National Chamber of Commerce listed the best cities in Pennsylvania to live. Bethel Park is number 13. There's not another one in Allegheny County. So you picked the right place. And that was based on employment, housing, education, health, and quality of life. I wanted to make one final effort to get registered for our Swift Reach program. It's working. We've been sending out a lot of messages about the garbage, about the fireworks, about things in general. So I just want to go over the steps for those who don't know how to get on, if you're not on right now. For the Swift Reach, you go to bethelparkpolice.net. And about 3/4 of the way down the page, it says sign up for Swift Reach. You click register now. When you get to that page, you have to enter your name, address, phone number, email. You can have texts come to you, you can have emails come to you, or you could have regular phone calls coming to you. But you have to create a password, and you can confirm your password and hit submit. I mean, it's as easy as that. However, if people are still having a problem doing that, you can call Detective Gorman at 412-831-6800, extension 836. The chief okayed it, so we didn't do this on our own. And we'd like to get everybody signed up as many people as we can, just when an emergency comes up. If it's in your neighborhood, we can pinpoint a neighborhood. If it happens to be a missing child, they can go to the neighborhood. So it's a great program for us to utilize, and we do, but we want everybody signed up if possible. Next, the farmers market. Just want to remind everyone that it's still Tuesdays from 3 to 7 in South Park, and that'll go till the end of September. And finally, a public service announcement on our military banners. They've been hanging up for 5+ years now. Some of them are damaged. Some of them are falling off poles. Some of them are even laying on the ground near the poles. So if you see one and you're able to pick it up, bring it here to the municipal building. If you're not able to pick it up, call us at 831-6800, hit 0, and we'll make arrangements to get it. We've lost a few this year, but of course, as the years go on and they deteriorate, we will replace them. We have a program to replace them. But if you see one damaged, please let us know. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Just one follow-up on the fireworks display. I'd like to especially thank Judy Miller for the coordination of the overall event. And it was a surprise, Lawrence. This was for you, and you're welcome to Bethel Park. And I do have to admit, last year when I was told No Bad Juju was going to be the band, I had to question that a little bit, but I guess I was wrong. They were back, and the people really liked them. So thank you very much, everybody that was involved. Okay, at this time now, I would like to turn to approval of the minutes, and Mr. Hannon.
Okay, the regular meeting of June 10th. I move that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of June 10th, 2019.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of June 10th, 2019. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Campbell.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. At this time, I'd like to turn to the approval of the bills and payrolls. Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the bills and payrolls of the municipality per bill list number 070819 for $1,419,241.37.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 070819 for $1,419,241.37. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Campbell.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. At this time, I would like to turn to the resident comment section for non-agenda items. That would be things that we're not going to be voting on this evening.
Mr. Murray,
Mr. Harrison.
I think inadvertently you chased the people out who came to make comments. Your comments just authenticated that that's it's a non-agenda item tonight. But and it just happened so fast. Well, as soon as you did that, about 6 or 7 people got up and walked out. And I had a couple phone calls today telling me they would be here to speak, and I told them to pick up a copy of the agenda, and there's a section that says non-agenda items is when they would speak. So I just wanted to, if by chance they're watching this program or will watch it, or I'll get in contact with them when I get home. I'll tell you, here's what I told them. If they want to speak to that issue, tonight is the night to do it because we're on TV and they'll pick it up. On the 22nd, I suspect that'll be the only item, and there'll be probably won't be TV, and we'll see.
Just for clarification, all he said, Mr. Harrison, there were a number of people signed up to speak for Cool Springs, and I just let them know that it is not on our agenda for tonight. I didn't say they couldn't speak to it.
No, I know. I'm simply telling you, they didn't understand. It all happened so fast. I didn't have a chance to speak to it, but I told them they didn't have to sign up to speak to that item. If it's an agenda item, they have to sign up. But obviously, these are people that we don't frequently see at our meetings.
Okay, thank you. Is there any resident that would like to speak on non-agenda items? If you could come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. We have a 3-minute time limit. We'll notify you, yes, at the end of 2 minutes, and would ask you to conclude your comments.
Good evening. My name is Tim Enright. I live at 2019 Cool Springs Drive. And I'd like to talk about the zoning proposal submitted by American National Retail to build a large gas station that the earlier comments caused the people to leave. There were half a dozen people that intended to speak, but did not feel that they were going to be given a chance to speak based on your comment, my opinion. So that cuts our turnout down a little bit, but there's a difference between turnout and what's correct. It only takes one person to be right. So if we can't generate the numbers of people that were generated on the previous location proposal, we can still be right. Those people that came from the Hamilton Road proposal came out in massive numbers, from what I hear. I didn't live here yet, but they all had reasons to turn out. Those reasons have not changed. The reasons that applied to the Hamilton Road location, almost to a single number, apply to our location too. And the people that may not be here for whatever reason does not imply that they agree with the zoning proposal. It just means they're not here. So don't take the lack of turnout to mean that anybody supports that idea. It may mean they don't know about it, or they just don't have as much interest as some of the others of us. Now, from what I can tell, there has been no traffic study done on Cool Springs Drive. There was a traffic study done down at the intersection of Baptist and Cool Springs when they worked on the traffic signals and the turning lanes, but there's not been a traffic study on our drive. Well, according to what are known as the rules of thumb for traffic engineers, a 2-lane local road should have no more than 1,000 trips per day. And Cool Springs Drive is definitely a 2-lane local road. Some roads they classify lower than that based on the accessibility and the livability. Cool Springs Drive is about 22 feet wide, as opposed to Baptist and Hamilton that are in the mid to high 30s and as much as up to 40 feet wide, and they don't have parking. Cool Springs Drive is residential, so it will have on-street parking. If we have guests more than our driveway can handle, they'll be parking on that street, turning that 22-foot wide street into essentially a 1-lane road. And at that point, we'll be watching The fuel tankers come up and down the road. The delivery trucks delivering all the gourmet food to the American Natural gas station. Now, when they do a study to get this 1,000 trips per day or less, they look at things like what generates traffic. A single-family house generates an average of 10 trips per day. A condo, 0.7. Per 1,000 square feet of office, about 10 trips a day. Per 1,000 square feet of retail, about 38 trips a day. And guess what? For a gas station convenience store, it's a heck of a lot more. And when they do it for the gas station convenience stores, they do what's based on vehicle fuel points. Now, the American Natural gas station in Cranberry has 8 pumps, which, since you can park on both sides, means 16 vehicle fuel points. 16 vehicle fuel points times 6.25 trips per hour times 24 hours a day would be 150 trips per day per pump. That would come out to, for our location, anywhere between 1,800 and 2,250 trips per day, and they all have to go on Cool Springs Drive because that's where they want to put the gas station. And we have a road that should not be designed for more than 1,000 trips per day. There is no way that our road can handle that kind of traffic, or let me say, should handle that kind of traffic. We've got kids that cross that crosswalk at the Cool Springs Sports Complex.
If I can ask, you can conclude your comments, please.
Is my time running up?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a lot of people that use that. People speed and run the stop signs there. And you're proposing something that will go over double what a road like that should handle. Thank you.
Thank you. You could state your name and address.
Good evening, members of council. My name is John Ackerman. I live at 2013 Cool Springs Drive. Actually, I've been a Bethel Park resident on and off since the early 1990s. Good evening, Mr. O'Brien, my former neighbor. In any case, I think what we want you to know is that there's only 25 units up there. Most of us are a little older and seeking a quiet place to live out our lives. We want to be contributing members of the community. And I think we all respect and appreciate, I know I certainly do, what a great community Bethel Park is. And we want to keep it that way. And no indifference meant towards anyone who wants to develop property and make money. The 25 units, by my mathematics, have generated about $6.5 million in gross revenue for the developer, which I believe is Rolling Lambert Company. With that said, and I only speak for myself and my wife, of course, we oppose rezoning this property to allow a retailer to come in to sell gasoline. I can't imagine just several hundred yards from my house having a storage tank with tens of thousands of gasoline in the ground. It presents a danger in my mind, and quite frankly, if you guys do go forward with this, I'll be putting a for sale sign. I'm not going to live there. We like it. It's a great place. It's close to church. It's close to shopping. And we want to keep it that way. We appreciate it. And again, as I said, I mean no disrespect to those who want to develop a property. And I certainly respect that Bethel Park needs to find ways to generate revenue because your expenses go up every year. I most certainly appreciate that. But again, we have a group of 25 couples or single folks living in a very nice small community. It's relatively quiet, and we like to keep that way. Again, I would ask that you really strongly consider, even though our numbers are small, to not allow a gas station to be built, convenience store type business be built so close to our properties, and also out of respect for the senior citizens who live in a nursing home that will sit directly behind this gas station. That'll be what they get to view out their windows, is an open retail outfit, and I don't think anyone is here representing those folks. But so again, please give it your utmost consideration before you move forward. We appreciate you letting us speak this evening. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Barb Cardinal Bussey, 2005 Cool Springs Drive. I've been a nurse practitioner for 43 years, and the most compelling reason to oppose rezoning is the health risk. Gasoline contains 150 different chemicals, but mostly hydrocarbons, which are all detrimental to our health, whether they're in a liquid or vapor form. One of them is benzene. It is a known carcinogen. Small amounts of hydrocarbons affect the central nervous system and cause organ damage. Children absorb more gas vapors because their respiratory rate is normally faster than adults, and they are shorter. Vapor concentrations are at a higher level closer to the ground. Numerous reputable studies here and abroad come to the same conclusions. Residents with a gas station in their neighborhood have poorer health, poor pregnancy outcomes, more birth defects, increased cancers, a higher incidence of leukemia in their children, increased hospital stays for asthma, more chronic lung, liver, kidney, and brain disease. Underground storage tanks at gas stations emit toxic vapors. Estimated levels are used by states to create setback regulations, in many states 300 feet. These regulations determine how far a gas station must be set back from a park, a playground, a school, or a hospital for safety reasons. In a 2018 study, Columbia and Johns Hopkins universities measured vent pipe emissions from storage tanks at several well-run gas stations, and they did this for approximately 3 weeks. They found the toxic vapor levels to be 10 times higher than the estimated emissions used to create these setback regulations. And the benzene levels were also much higher than predicted. Studies also found that the accidental spilling from a typical gas station adds 40 gallons of gas into the environment every year.
You have 1 minute, please.
How could it possibly be safe to put this toxic neighbor next door to the Sheraton and across the street from the Paramount, 2 senior facilities with a vulnerable population, or across the street from 23 homes in the sports complex, or 350 feet from Millennium Park and near Abraham Lincoln Elementary School? We purchased our home because of the green space, partially, only to find Cool Springs owners want to replace it with a dangerous neighbor. My conclusion is that profit is more important than anything else. I believe, as one of your constituents, that you will make sound fiscal decisions, but never at the expense of the health and safety of this community and its residents. Please say no to Penn Cove Group and American Natural Retail. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Jean Enright. I live at 2019 Cool Springs Drive. My husband Tim and I moved into our home on May 31st, 2019. Imagine our surprise when we realized that the green space and the walking trails that were advertised when we looked at villas at Cool Spring were not a reality, and in fact we were swept into the reality of our municipal council even considering putting a gas station on our small residential street. We didn't know anything about this when we moved in until we talked to neighbors who actually had an opportunity to provide at least some feedback. So you can imagine we felt blindsided. I'm really concerned about this too. I'm a nurse, and Barb laid out the indisputable health concerns, including for the residents of the private homes on Cool Springs Drive, the children who use the Cool Springs Sports Complex and Millennium Park and who attend the elementary school, and then all the elderly residents of the Sheraton and the Paramount across the street. The addition of all these air pollutants into the living environment will have a serious negative effect on the health of all of us. As Tim pointed out, a gas station is going to bring additional traffic and serious safety concerns. Cool Springs Drive is narrow, and it's already being used as a cut-through for people who want to avoid the light at Baptist and Hamilton or who are leaving the sports complex. This is causing safety for us, safety concerns for us in trying to back out of our driveway. It's terrifying, to be truthful, to back out of my driveway because cars just speed up that road. I noticed that there's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign, but 25 miles an hour, in my opinion, is too fast. I'm not comfortable going 25 miles an hour up Cool Springs Drive. So it looks to me like the anticipated increase in traffic is only going to make a bad situation much worse. So that increased traffic is also going to increase noise pollution. Noise pollution is not just annoying, but it's a significant health concern. It can be a major health hazard. Cars and commercial bustle can disturb sleep, can create stress, contribute to cardiovascular disease, and it impacts cognitive development in children. Gas stations and convenience stores are well lit, and they do that to attract customers. But light pollution can disturb sleep and create stress. There you go again, health concerns. Another interesting thing about the light pollution is convenience stores and gas stations are well lit to attract customers, but also to deter crime. Convenience store holdups account for 6% of all robberies nationally, and their employees are more likely to be victims of homicide, second only to taxi drivers. So when you consider all these negative impacts that we've talked about, you won't be surprised to know that it's been determined that home values drop approximately $40,000 when they are within 500 feet of a gas station.
If you could have 1 minute.
Property values will also decrease for the owners of the Sheraton and the Paramount. I can't imagine that you won't hear from them. So you won't be surprised to know that Tim and I are completely opposed to the proposed commercial rezoning in our residential neighborhood. We bought our house in a quiet, safe, clean place to live. I trust that the Bethel Park Municipal Council will vote no on the proposed commercial rezoning to put a gas station and food mart on Cool Springs Drive. I would think that your role is to promote the best interest of the residents of Bethel Park, and a toxic business in a residential neighborhood is not in the best interest.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rosemary Costanzo. I live at 2017 Cool Springs Drive. And excuse me for reading my remarks, I'm nervous.
We're nice people usually.
At the last council meeting addressing the Cool Springs issue, the pastor of the church on the corner of Baptist and Hamilton expressed that he thought it was a great success that the proposed gas station food mart would be moved so as not to inconvenience his large congregation on their irregular use of the church facilities. He succeeded in getting the can kicked down the road, but it was kicked into our yard, where families in 23 housing units and hundreds of residents of the personal care memory care facility would be affected 24/7, since it is where we live, not where we visit. Why would having the proposed gas station at the corner of Baptist and Hamilton be a bad idea, but moving it to Cool Springs Drive be a good idea? The proposed gas station was moved to a side street which serves a residential area already plagued with cut-through traffic, which disregards speed limit, pedestrian traffic, and the safety of people trying to back out of their driveways or walk to their mailboxes. Having this gas station on our side street would draw in even more unwelcome traffic, which would add to the existing bad situation. A senior care facility already serving an elderly population with medical and breathing problems will be most heavily impacted by the toxic fumes from the gas pumping. All the residents of the villas at Cool Springs will be impacted also, since this is our home now and we can't get away from the fumes. Large fuel tankers would of course have to drive into this station to refuel the tanks. This would impact traffic, the roadway, cause more toxic fumes, and present additional road hazards. And right now, we need protection from all the outside traffic cutting through with multiple speed bumps, lowered speed limits, and additional stop signs. Add a gas station, and the problem only becomes much worse. We will also need visible monitoring by Bethel Park Police to alert drivers that these restrictions are serious. Thank you for letting me express myself.
Thank you very much.
Rich Baller, 1119 Logan Road. My house is for sale. If anybody wants to move over there, I'll be glad to sell it to you. Believe me, I'll live next to a gas station. Here to talk about the flooding. We've been through this for over a year now. So I like the comments about the health issues. There's 450 homes in Bethel that had black mold in their basement for the last 50 years. Nobody seemed to care. So it's really disturbing to me, some of the things I hear that go on in the community, about how people want pools and they want this, they want that. And there's people that can't even live their lives. And it's been going on for a long time. So I just want to stress again how important it is that the flooding in Bethel gets taken care of before anything else. Because these people deserve that. They've been living with health issues. I've never had a pet that lived long term. All my pets have died from cancer or kidney failure, because who knows what's in the floodwaters come through my property every year. And with the black mold, nobody can even use their basements. And property values of ours is zero because we can't outsell the houses. So I want you to take that into consideration again. And Lawrence, I'll be glad to meet you. I know you got a lot on your plate, but I really do want to, I'll send you an email, and at your best convenience, I'd like to meet with you about the problems over on Logan. Mark, I want to thank you for some of the information you gave me. Appreciate that. And looking forward to I'll just speak on it now. It's not an agenda, but there's an agenda item. I'd just like you guys to explain what the changes are going to be during the Public Works meeting. That's all I wanted to ask. Okay? Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
My name is Tom Bussey. I'm going to be living at 2005 Cool Springs Drive, and obviously vehemently opposed to the rezoning suggestion. Seems to me that when the zoning was established, this was a residential area, and there's, in my opinion, sufficient commercial zoning in Bethel Park to accommodate additional commercial enterprises. So, I would urge the council to consider that this was residential. Why it should be changed, I don't understand the motivation to change the zoning. If it's a matter of money, I'm wondering what the cost-benefit exchange is here in terms of what's going to clearly be a drop in the tax revenue from the residents versus the tax revenue that the gas station would generate at this location. Also very concerned about the fact that the only entrance and exit to the gas station, as I understand it, is from Cool Springs Drive, which clearly was not designed to handle the level of traffic and large trucks that would be required. In addition, the confusing postponement of the issue has caused the folks at the Sheridan's corporate office to think that this meeting was canceled, and so they provided a letter. Which has the council received a letter from their attorney?
Yes.
You've all gotten, because I have additional copies if anybody would need one. But I would encourage you to read that letter. The lawyer speaks and writes better than I do. But I'd again urge the council to think about, it was zoned residential to begin with for reasons that it's for residents, it's not for commercial. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Richard Nosetti. I live at 5530 Baptist Road, about one house into Whitehall, so I'm not really a Bethel Park resident. I will feel the effects of this zoning change because right now Baptist Road is pretty much overloaded with traffic, and having yet more traffic on Baptist Road to include fuel trucks is not a good thing. Our medical people have mentioned the environmental and health problems of gasoline storage. I believe there is a wetlands at the bottom of the hill, so the state agency would probably have to look into anything. If gas leaks, that's where it's going to go. We have the health problems with the Sheridan, and also has the fire marshal considered how far this gasoline station is away from a facility housing dementia patients? And how would you evacuate that facility should there be a catastrophic fire? All the other points about the road are valid. The road is not really made to handle it, and it is actually a pretty poor location. Now, I can't argue against bad business decisions. That's up to them. But as far as the zoning goes, what we did at first, we questioned the spot zoning of putting a C1, a commercial zoning, in a residential area at Baptist and Hamilton. And spot zoning, while it's not illegal, is not considered to be a good thing to do. And what I see here is creeping zoning. How are these guys going to monetize it? Well, they're just going to move piece by piece and get C1 zonings until they're already over there, and then we can't complain about spot zoning. So they're eating the elephant one bite at a time. That pretty much concludes my comments. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Does any other residents like to speak? Hearing none, can we turn to the agenda?
Mr. Moore.
Mr. Harrison.
I'd like to speak to what these folks said. They've done their research, and they presented the facts as they are. The long-range plan designates that area as R3. They have no reason to believe that it wouldn't stay R3. Now, they recognize that areas can be rezoned, but to change the zoning from R3 is blatantly ignoring the long-range plan. And they're aware that we're in the process of updating the long-range plan, so that'll give them another opportunity to speak to their concerns. I personally visited the Sheraton. I've gone through the whole thing. I got a complete tour, checked prices and that type thing. And it's not inexpensive to get into there. There's a few $1,000s front-end money that you have to put up just to walk into the front door, and then you have to pay your rent and that type thing. And I think the people who moved in there obviously can afford to be in there, but I think they had every reason to believe that they were going to have a nice atmosphere beside a nice open space, the golf driving range and that type thing. I think we're blatantly ignoring the concern for these people who moved in there because of the atmosphere, and now being told, hey, council may rezone it and put in a Sheets type station and eating place there. And as it was mentioned, the corporate lawyer for Sheraton has sent us a letter highlighting a lot of these facts. And I just want to encourage council to listen to these facts in deciding whether they would be willing to vote to rezone that property. In my opinion, if this council rezones this so this Sheets type facility can go in, I think we're inviting a lawsuit, and that's something we don't need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I just want to clarify, just so the public understands, that the rezoning that was scheduled originally we thought was going to be tonight has been rescheduled for the 25th. at 7:45, excuse me, the 22nd at 7:45. We're just talking about the rezoning of the property. A lot of the information was given about traffic. If it's rezoned, I think the Planning Commission's looking at a site plan, and I'm not for or against it, I'm just telling you, that's when traffic is going to be discussed. That's when the specific project is going to be discussed. We look at first, should it be rezoned in the particular way they're requesting it? They then will make the proposal, and all these things would be hashed out if it got to that point, number one. Number two is Cool Springs Drive is a public drive from Baptist Road to the cul-de-sac. That is a Bethel Park street. Above the cul-de-sac, where many of these homes are, is private, and that is owned and controlled by the owners of Cool Springs. So we have no control on speed or traffic or stop signs, anything like that. Just so you know, no matter what happens here, that should be addressed really with the owners of that property, not with the municipality. Like I said, we own and control up to the cul-de-sac. Okay, at this time, can we turn to General Policy and Finance and Mr. McLean, and we have no residents signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item under General Policy and Finance is ordinance number 070819, Parameters Ordinance, Guaranteed Sewer Revenue Bonds. I move that we approve the ordinance authorizing the municipality of Bethel Park, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, to incur lease rental debt in an amount not to exceed $9,115,000 by entering into an 8th supplemental agreement of lease and a 5th supplemental guarantee agreement for the guaranteed sewer revenue bonds refunding series of 2019 to be issued by the Bethel Park Municipal Authority for the purpose of the current refunding of the outstanding guaranteed sewer revenue bonds refunding series of 2012 of the authority, and for capital improvements representing the capitalized amount of savings realized by the refunding program. Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve the ordinance authorizing the municipality of Bethel Park, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, to incur lease rental debt in the amount not to exceed $9,115,000 by entering into an 8th supplemental agreement of lease and a 5th supplemental guarantee agreement for the guaranteed sewer revenue bonds refunding series of 2019 to be issued by Bethel Park Municipal Authority for the purpose of current refunding of the outstanding guaranteed sewer revenue bonds refunding series of 2012 of the authority, and the 4 capital improvements representing the capitalized amount of the savings realized by their refunding program. I hope we weren't paying for this by the word. We have...
I didn't write it.
Just for everybody's information, we have a bond outstanding for the Bethel Park Municipal Authority, which they've already spent and dedicated to projects. This is authorizing the municipal authority, and Wayne Gerhold, who's the solicitor for the municipal authority's bond issue. If interest rates drop, and I don't pretend to understand how it works, but if it hits a certain point where we can refinance and get anywhere between a minimum, I think it's $80,000 in refinancing money after all expenses, the authority is going to pull the trigger. What we'll do is refinance. That money will be put back into the capital budget for the Bethel Park Municipal Authority to be spent on projects that were dedicated in the original bond issue. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Gerhold? Hearing none, Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Maury.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. McLean.
Second agenda item under General Policy and Finance is resolution number R070819, Penvest reimbursement. I move that we approve the resolution declaring the intent to reimburse general funds used to construct improvements to the stormwater management system of the municipality of Bethel Park with funds received from the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority. Second.
There's a motion and second that we approve the resolution declaring the intent to reimburse general funds used to construct improvements to the stormwater management system of the municipality of Bethel Park with funds received from the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority, commonly known as PennVest. Just for the record, I will be abstaining from this vote because I serve on the board of directors of PennVest. Essentially, we've in the past have authorized staff to borrow up to $1.3 million for defined 3 projects. We're going to be awarding projects tonight, so we'll pay for it, then they will then reimburse us, and we'll go on to a payment structure. So are there any questions? Hearing none. Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Mowry.
Abstain.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0 with 1 abstention. Mr. McLean.
There are no further agenda items under General Policy and Finance.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Other additional items?
Mr. Morris.
Mr. Harrison.
I'd like to talk to the folks. A nonprofit organization named Allegheny Land Trust has acquired the right to purchase 40.5 acre plot of land to preserve it forever as a conservation area for natural outdoor recreation like walking and hiking and environmental education. The property is located on the east side of Route 88 across Milford Road and Connor Road. The property is partially bound by single-family development on Valley Drive, Richard Drive, and St. Clair Drive. A 1-hour video presenting the details of the plan is available for viewing on bethelpark.net. You will note that a part of the financing is an accumulation of citizens' donations of at least $35,000. This contribution is needed to close the funding gap and to demonstrate to other sources of funding that the citizens support the project. I consider this an excellent development for Bethel Park, and the prospect of the development enthralls me. Mr. Maury suggested I should be willing to donate $1,000. I have committed to donate 1 year of my council pay, $3,000, to this Citizens Fund. Hopefully this will encourage citizens, especially Mr. Maury, to donate at least the amount, $1,000, that he suggested I donate. We'll see what the future holds. Any donation amount is acceptable, and a donation is tax deductible. Donations can be made at the Allegheny Land Trust website, AlleghenyLandTrust.org, or by mail at the Allegheny Land Trust, 416 Thorn Street, Sewickley, PA 15143. Checks should indicate, contribution checks should indicate in the memo section that this is for Bethel Greenway, because people make contributions to them for many reasons. But so you have to, if you make a contribution by check, you ought to put that on there to make sure it goes into the fund for this property and not other use. Your donation will help move this project ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. I don't know where or what meeting that you attended that I suggested you donate $1,000, because that simply isn't true. And I don't have, Mr. Harrison,
it's interesting.
I have the floor.
I had
the floor, Mr. Harrison.
I had
the floor,
I
Mr.
had
Harrison.
yielded for you. Thank you.
That is simply not true. I don't have to sit up here and play to the audience and tell what I'm going to donate, as Mr. Harrison does. He had no involvement with the project until we sat in front of the cameras. Then he thought it was a good idea.
Mr. Maury.
Mr. Harrison.
It's amazing that this group of council members, most of them were in the caucus room when you made that suggestion, and if you want to claim that you didn't say that, then you're either forgetting or you're wanting to hide it. And I spoke to Tom Doherty today about this, telling him that I was going to remind people that you made that commitment. And he said, oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. O'Brien.
I want to thank Mr. Mowry and the people at the trust and Sean Arbaugh, municipal manager, to having the foresight to look forward to this, to bring this together. I hope what we've seen here by Mr. Harrison putting his thumbprint on it now deters people. This is a really, really good thing. It's about conserving the land, not about any one of us here. This is a piece of property that has plagued many of us for many years, what to do with it. And it created such problems for residents, for traffic, for intersections. And to have this type of use eventually end up is simply amazing. Please don't allow this thumbprint we hear tonight dim this in any way for anyone. It is really a wonderful thing, and I thank everyone who had the time, the idea, and the forethought of making this happen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Are there any additional
Mr.
comments?
President,
Mr. Dr. Campbell.
I also wholeheartedly, emphatically, absolutely, positively endorse the Bethel Greenway project. It is a rare gem indeed, that we have the opportunity to have 40.5 acres in the South Hills of Bethel Park, which is basically pristine land. It was abandoned largely in 1939, worked from the mid-1880s to 1930s, then left for Mother Nature to reclaim, and Mother Nature did reclaim it. The tailing piles are largely covered, forested. There's raccoon, there are deer, there are more birds than you could shake a proverbial stick at. There's chipmunks and gophers and just an incredible array of flora and fauna in that area. And what a great opportunity we have in partnership with Allegheny Land Trust to pass this on to our children and our children's children in perpetuity, that this land may not be developed for any other purpose but be kept for a park. And it fits hand in glove with the blueprint for Bethel Park, what our citizens have told us that they want, to be able to preserve precious green space like this. So I, too, am very emboldened and excited and so hopeful with the activities that are coming forth with the development of this. We get support. The municipal council has dedicated some funds to this property. Allegheny Land Trust has dedicated some funds to this property, and we're looking for grants to go ahead and do it and make up a lot of the difference. The citizens of Bethel Park are tasked with raising about $35,000. Our community members, our corporations, our businesses. From talking with Sideline with a lot of folks, I think I could tell you with the shorty, I've already had folks tell me that we're well past a third of the way, almost to a half of the way of that goal already. And this plan to go ahead and raise funds hasn't even been really formally launched yet. So it's going to transpire, and it's going to be wonderful. And it's going to be, I've walked the place and the property already. It's gorgeous, and we're going to make it even more gorgeous, make it accessible, and again, preserve it for all time and eternity. And that's the best gift we can give at this time with this property to our citizens.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. O'Brien.
Following up Dr. Campbell, 20 years ago, when I was a much younger man, this is one of the properties we looked at. And I stood up on that flat space overlooking Connor Road with some people that are no longer with us, Bill Duckworth and Jim Fox, and we had to make a choice on what best served us, and we chose Millennium. We wanted it all, but you can't really get it all. So I'm really excited that we have another opportunity to save this property. And even we talked about Bill Roll this morning. He was also there. So, and Mr. Mowry. So that's pretty exciting to have another opportunity to make this for the people, for the future of Bethel Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Any additional items?
Mr. President.
Mr. Dixon.
Just a quick comment. I think it's beyond unfortunate that Mr. Harrison would take an opportunity like this and launch a verbal attack on Mr. Mowry, one of his infamous verbal attacks for which he's well known. Just a little background. Mr. Mowry is the one that instigated this relationship with the Allegheny Land Trust. He brought this whole deal together, somewhat serendipitously too, I believe. He always has the betterment of this community in mind. And when he met the gentleman from Allegheny Land Trust, he immediately began extolling the virtues of Bethel Park, and he mentioned the last major piece of green space available in this entire region. So Allegheny Land Trust immediately became interested, and Tim was the one who started this whole process. So congratulations to him. This thing is well on its way. It's an extremely exciting opportunity, and I can't wait to get this thing underway.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mowry. I just want to make one brief comment. For all the reasons that have been noted here, this is indeed a worthwhile project, and I encourage those who want to support the project to consider making a donation. But I would ask that you do it in a charitable spirit, which means you do it quietly, privately, and without the need for attribution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to planning and zoning? And Mr. Dixon, and we have no residents signed up to speak.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have but one lonely item under planning and zoning tonight. Application 2019-0394, South Hills Village Mall redevelopment, major land development. I move that we approve application 2019-0394, South Hills Village Mall redevelopment, major land development, conditioned upon the completion of the outstanding items in the Director of Engineering's correspondence dated July 2nd, 2019, and execution of a developer's agreement with the municipality.
Second.
There is a motion to second that we approve application number 2019-0394, South Hills Village Mall redevelopment, major land development, conditioned upon the completion of outstanding items in the Director of Engineering's correspondence dated July 2nd, 2019, and execution of a developer's agreement with the municipality. I will first comment on this. It's been in the paper and been through several meetings, both in Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair, about the redevelopment, the reinventing of South Hills Village. When we had the preliminary approval in front of us, I opted to vote no, because I wasn't 100% convinced while I supported the project that we were getting what we thought was best for the municipality of Bethel Park. So I am happy to report I'm going to be voting yes. I am very supportive. I think in looking at malls and other commercial facilities throughout the area, it's tough with the retail establishments, and the people that are successful are reinventing themselves. There's going to be a lot of money put into the facility. There's going to be a lot of new business, a lot of new things brought to Bethel Park, and I'm happy to say that I will be supporting this development. And I appreciate the Planning Commission and staff and the developer for putting up with us, and I think it's going to be a good project for both communities.
You're here.
Mr. Hannon.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to look too far from us to see that there's shopping centers, large shopping centers in bankruptcy, going to be torn down. I mean, they're going to recondition the whole place by demolishing it. So this is an improvement. This is a increase in value. Obviously, South Hills Village is the highest tax piece of property in Bethel Park and Upper St. Clair. So it has benefits to all, but it's nice to have a developer or an owner that wants to make it work and work with you and come to a successful conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Mowry.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Okay, the motion for South Hills Village Mall redevelopment, major land development, has been approved 8-0. Mr. Dixon.
Mr. President, that's all we have under planning and zoning tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Are there any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to health, safety, and welfare? And Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. There are no items under health, safety, and welfare, although I have a few.
Mr. O'Brien.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Chief O'Connor for the South Hills Village negotiations, and also for his yeoman's work of doing 2 jobs for more than he expected. He was called and he answered the call, and he did an outstanding job. And I'm really happy to have him back as chief now. And I'm sure he's excited just to be in that role. So
Yeah, you
I'd just
can
like
tell.
to say thank you, Chief, for all that you did for us and for the people of Bethel Park. Also, I'd like to just take a second to look back with Tim's and Jack's comments about our summer spectacular. It was really, really kind of cool. It felt like you were in a Hallmark movie on the Hallmark Movie Channel as you sat and you walked through, and all the vendors and the staff put all this together, and the sponsors, and then the police presence protecting all of us and watching vigilant for things that we don't really worry about or think about. They were doing their job and doing it rather well. And we're a community. We were this large community of Bethel Park, and on the top of this mountain that we had a vision to buy this property and develop, we used it last year and this year for the first time in a different way. And as we were waiting for the fireworks, the kids were throwing a football on a field, and I saw a great new device. It's a baseball with a light in it. That means I can catch a baseball well into the night now, which I never saw before, and the kids just had a blast. And then when it was all over, I turned around and looked, and there was just a sea of people that just really enjoyed everything. And then there was Memorial Day. Memorial Day with the program here, and the parade, and the program in the cemetery, and the luncheon. You know, this is just a great place to live. These are great people. I can't say enough about the people of Bethel Park. And if you're around and about in the month of July, stop in the Veterans Memorial. All our American flags are flying very, very proud. We have the 13-star flag, the 15, the 34, the Betsy Ross, the 48, and now after today, we're going to have the Whiskey Rebellion, since that is coming up very shortly. So, Mr. Murray, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Is there any other items from council? Hearing none, can we turn to Public Works and Maintenance and Mr. Hannon? And after we do the first resolution, I'll respond to the 3 projects. Mr. Hannon.
There's two contract approvals. First one is Phase 1 Stormwater Project. I move that we approve the contract with Morgan Excavating for $647,061 for Phase 1 Stormwater Projects in accordance with the Director of Engineering's correspondence dated June 19th, 2019.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the contract for Morgan Excavating in the amount of $647,061 for Phase 1 Stormwater Projects in accordance with the Director of Engineering's correspondence dated July 19, 2019. June 19. Excuse me, June 2019. Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Just real quick, I'll give you a quick overview. As many know, we started last fall after the June issue. We opted to take a little, expand our approach on stormwater management and actually look not just in the major areas where we've done projects, but look a little bit further up the watershed. We tasked our staff to go out and look and see what areas could we do that would help improve our stormwater management, our MS4 requirements from the state of Pennsylvania, and really controlling the stormwater management. Staff went without any input from council. They looked at the community, they looked at the problem areas, they looked where we own property, and the first issue was to come up with things that we could do quickly, and in government this is quickly, in areas where property we know, or we currently own. There's actually 3 projects that are going to be on the docket that we're going to be approving tonight. First is the Logan Road Ponds. We're going to do a slight expansion. They're going to be doing some reconfiguration of the flow into the ponds. I don't have the exact numbers, but there'll be expanded service for that area under the Logan Ponds. The second part will be Oak Tree Park. I know this more because it's in my area, but we're not going to be disturbing any of the neighbors. We're going to be taking the existing stormwater system. That goes through the park, under the parking lot. We're going to be putting 115,000 gallon detention area. And then in the bottom portion of the park, we're going to be putting some small, I'll call them dry ponds that'll catch some of the surface water. The net result will be about 155,000 gallons of water collected over a 24-hour period for Oak Tree. And we're looking to do something very similar with Birch Tree Park, where it's up the watershed property we own, and we're going to be doing some expanding of putting some stormwater management in there. This is what we consider to be phase 1. Staff is already working on phase 2. You might have seen at the school board meeting last week, and I appreciate their actions on approving an agreement with the municipality at Peter J. Page Park. We're looking to do some stormwater management in that area, put some retention areas, and there's 2 other areas which escape me right now. But when we go for these Penvest loans, number one, it's the flexibility, it's a low interest rate, it makes it more accessible versus doing a general bond issue with projects that are small dollars. Second is we have to get everything approved by the state and all our permits before we can officially apply for the Penvest grant. So hopefully this fall we'll be applying, I think, in October meeting, the Penvest board. If all goes well, we will be presenting them 3 additional projects to be done probably sometime next spring. The 3 projects we're looking at tonight, once we execute the agreement, which should be done by the end of August, we believe it'll take us approximately 90 days. One contractor's doing 2 projects and one contractor's doing 1. That's why we broke it down into 2 separate contracts. So we have an ongoing process. We're not going away. We actually, I don't say this very often, but we raised taxes this past year, and this is really the fruit of our labors from the tax increases to fund some of these stormwater management, the MS4 projects, not only for this year, probably for the next 3 years to come. I hope I answered your question. Is there any other discussion?
Excuse me, Mr. Mowry, what was the total obligation that Bethel Park put forth for these projects?
These 3 projects were approximately, we estimated 1.2 to 1.3 million. They're coming in slightly under 900,000. I think our total projected spend over the next 5 years is going to be in the neighborhood of $5 to $7 million for all the projects. Obviously, that was based on the preliminary numbers. It could be more, but more than likely it's going to be less.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional comments? Hearing none, Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll? You got to answer all these questions next month.
Okay. Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Mowry.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Hannon.
The second item is I move we approve a contract with A. Morante Contracting for $181,945 for a Phase 1 stormwater project in accordance with the Director of Engineering's correspondence dated June 19th, 2019.
Second.
There's a motion, a second, that we approve the contract with A. Morante Contracting in the amount of $181,945 for the Phase 1 stormwater project in accordance with the Director of Engineering's correspondence dated June 19, 2019. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
McLean.
Yes.
Mowry.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Council Magno.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons. Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Motion passes 8-0. Mr. Hannon.
We have no further items under Public Works and Maintenance, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any additional items? Hearing none, is there a motion
Move
to
we adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourning. Good night, everyone.